I'd like to welcome all of the viewers on this YouTube to the Saul Malmstein show. I'm Saul Malmstein. It's a pleasure to meet everyone out there in YouTube. This is my sign. I'm creative, not very creative actually. What we're doing on the show is we're talking about cash, and we're talking about finance, and we're talking about different things in the world that may be affecting your life directly, and I'm going to help you out with all that stuff. One thing I want to make perfectly clear before we get started: this is not a political show. I don't like talking about politics. I don't discuss politics on the show. And I don't really appreciate people writing to YouTube and sending emails, etc. to Saul Malmstein about what's going on in the political arena. Because I don't give a shit. I'm just here to talk about cash. Now, occasionally, undeniably, politics will have an influence on the way that we view cash, cold and hard. There are going to be a few things you're going to want to procure, I'll say, before you start to follow the series. I hope many of you out there will find this to be a very informative and unbelievably groundbreaking material that you can use in your everyday life. One thing about this country: this, my friends, is what we call a capitalist nation. Everyone in this country cares about one thing and one thing only. Well, not everybody. Most people. I'm going to revert to this packet several times because this is the first installment of the show. And I'm here to remind everyone what we're talking about. We're talking about cold hard cash. This is what people are concerned with in our society today. And if you don't believe me, just look who was elected president. More now than ever in the year 2017, most Americans are concerned with cold hard cash. I say that because you say, "So, how did you become such a millionaire and have so much money?" Well, I'll tell you how I didn't do it. It was not from playing the stock market. Just because Donald Trump is the president of this country, let me tell you something. I know a thing or two about this guy. He's a chump. Donald Trump is a chump. He doesn't know shit about cash. He's a stock market. I've got a lot of friends. I've had friends. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. Stocks are dangerous. These guys have a license to steal. They have a license to gamble. And basically what they're doing is gambling with your cash and stealing your money. So I'm just here to let you know a little bit about that. Donald Trump doesn't have that much cash, by the way, as compared to, say, myself and several other people that are in my social circles. Another thing you may find peculiar: this show does not talk about saving the planet. I'm not going to get in here talking about environmental issues. I don't care about this planet. Honest to God, I care more about the universe. I am an employee of NASA, and therefore I'm more concerned with what's going on in the universe than I am on what's going on in this crazy planet we live on. That's just the way it goes. Sorry if that hurts your feelings. I really don't give a crap. I'm here more or less I'm really just doing this show. I don't have many friends, as you can tell. Obviously, I'm sitting around making YouTube videos. It's definitely somebody who doesn't have very many friends. That's for sure. These are fascinating pictures taken by the Hubble spacecraft. You may want to read up a little bit about space exploration while watching this show. There are a few props you're going to want to have, some things, as I said, you might want to procure. Because in the long and short of it all, when the series starts getting into installment number 2, for instance, I'm going to be showing you what to do when someone is trying to break into your car. Or possibly try to break into your house. This is not going to be pleasant. Parts of the show are not going to be pleasant at all. I just feel to let you know that right now. And there's going to be an installment in this program where I'm going to teach you a card trick. I'll tell you more about that later too. One thing you're going to want to have is a tablet. I trade in currencies. And I'm going to show you an example. As you can tell right now, I'm monitoring currencies on the tablet. Yeah. This is something you're going to want to have at your disposal. For some reason, that is the best way to look and trade in currency. I don't trade in stocks. I think I mentioned that earlier. I had a good friend who traded in stocks. Graduated from the Terry School of Business, University of Georgia, went on to MIT. Brilliant man. Very smart about stocks. And lived on Wall Street in New York City. Yeah! We're very good friends. He was calling, asking about financial advice. I knew this gentleman for quite some time. And one day, he jumped out of a 50-story building. Stocks are dangerous. So we trade in currency. I trade in futures, but I like to deal with cash. Credit cards are a rip-off. So get yourself a tablet if you possibly can. You can or can't, I don't care what you do. But you'll be able to follow the show a lot better if you have yourself a tablet. This is a freaking, what they call a smartphone. It's not a very smartphone to me. Who thought of that name for this is not a smartphone. Trust me when I tell you. I used to work for NASA. Well, to put it to you this way, I'm a nuclear physicist by trade. But I like to dabble in cash and figure out ways how to make money. Who doesn't? But that phone is not smart. I asked that phone some questions, and the answers I get are not that great. And plus, I know some people that work down at the wireless store. And it's a bunch of fucking jackasses. If you walk into your wireless store and ask some simple questions, you're gonna really come out of that place pissed off, like I was today. Because these people don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're talking about. I beg and plead everyone I know out here, if you've got half a freaking brain, please go get a job at the wireless store. I'll pay half your salary. For crying out loud. Now, if you're working at the wireless store, some of the guys are pretty smart. I don't know. It's a tough gig. But that phone is not smart. Just put it to you that way. Now, it's a couple of other things. This for sure. I'm going to hold this up here to the camera so you can get a little bit of a better look at what I'm talking about here. My friends, what you're seeing is a calculator watch. This, my friends, is the TI-84 on your wrist. Okay? Trust me when I tell you something. No one is going to fuck with you if you're wearing a TI-84 on your wrist. Trust me. I can do calculations that'll blow your freaking mind in seconds. It's an essential part of the program because I'm especially going to come into play when I show you that card trick I was talking about on the second part, on the third series. I'm sorry. The second series is going to deal with defending against predators in the neighborhood or someone trying to rip off your car. Please understand something. Everything I own is nuclear powered. My house, the lights are on in this house. I cook in my kitchen. My car. My computers. Everything I own is nuclear powered. And if you want to discuss nuclear power, please get on the show and give us a ring. Email at the production email. I'd love to hear some feedback on your endeavors with nuclear power. Also, if you're into any type of atomic fission and you've figured out a way to harness that kind of power, I'm very interested in speaking with you. That is something I think is quite amazing. The only other thing I can think of that we could possibly think of to generate that kind of power is maybe electric generated by something like, let's say, the Hoover Dam. Now, if I would love to live next door to the Hoover Dam, but they won't let me. I tried. They won't let me within 200 miles of the Hoover Dam because they know that I'm out to try to procure large amounts of power. So I'm relegated to have a nuclear reactor in my basement. People are trying to give me crap about it down at the county. Who passed that law saying someone can't have their own nuclear power plant in their house? Bunch of jackasses. I said, here's the motto in this show, my friends. If you figure it out, do it. Who's going to stop you? Really? I've got some things laying around this house. Not going to talk about it on the show. So, next step is going to be, we're going to talk a lot about nuclear cars. And we're going to talk about some interesting things. I'm going to teach you guys how to build a supercomputer. Out of a few simple items that I just happen to have laying around the house. Now, this, something like this here, something like this here, putting this in front of the camera, what you ought to be able to see, so you can start to gather these things around your house. I'm sure you've got them laying around. It's one microprocessor. This is another microprocessor. If you get several, you can have several of these laying around. There's a few simple items. We're going to make a supercomputer. I'll show you how to do it. Forceps. I keep these everywhere I go. Usually you'll find them in my pocket. And oddly enough, I also have a packet level because I'm constantly doing experiments. And sometimes you have to make sure that the surface that you're working on is of sound construction and is perfectly in square. Also, this, my friends, is a spy camera. Now, this is going to be used. You never know when you're going to need this thing. But this would take photographs of unsuspecting visitors to the program. I might have visitors on this program, but I'm going to have them under spy surveillance at all times. No one's allowed in my house unless they're under surveillance. That's just the way it goes. Okay, jackass. Last but not least, this thing about, there might be some parents out there. You might say, I'm not so sure I want my kids watching a series where this guy on YouTube is showing children how to do things that are very dangerous. I'm not so sure everything we're going to explore is quite that dangerous. But most likely, I'm going to show you how to do it anyway, whether it is or not. So, parents beware. If your kid starts walking around the house with large cable, something like that, just simply inquire. Where are you going with that gigantic cable? It might be a smart idea before you find the house burned to the ground. I'm not going to take responsibility for anyone's house getting burned to the ground, by the way. Somebody come out here and say, you saw that on the Saul Malmstein show. I don't care. My kid is become quite the adult. He's trading in currencies. He's a smart kid. But he sure is he's smart enough not to blow himself up. So I give him credit for that. I don't care what he figures out from my show. And also, I'm not so sure I'm smart enough not to blow myself up or the neighborhood. But there again, that would make for some very exciting video. If something like that happens, I'm sure we'll put it on the show. So, you definitely want to stick around to see if we have some sort of nuclear accident, something to that effect. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, this is going to just about wrap up series 1. I'm very glad to make my debut appearance on the YouTube network. This video, as I say, is a trial run video. And we're going to talk more about my favorite subject and everybody's favorite subject in America, because we've just voted for the famous Donald Trump. All forms of currency and cash. A show about cash. Okay. Until next time, I bid you adieu. And remember, tell your friends about Saul Malmstein.